Are you ready to start?
I'm waiting on you, man. You're the one starting it.
Oh, sorry, I forgot.
This is the New Leaf Podcast.
All right, welcome to episode 32 of the New Leaf Podcast. This is your best host, Christian, joined by your pretty good host, Taylor. And unfortunately, Tyler and Tanner will not be joining us again this week, and also going forward. I guess they got a lot more stuff going on, gonna have to kind of take a back seat on the podcast side. So, good for them. You want real life to come before podcasting, you know what I mean? So,
I mean, the podcast is real life as well, but I guess I know what you're saying.
I guess. Anyways, so you're now stuck with me and Taylor, unless somebody else wants to come onto the show, but I don't know why they would, because we had no idea what we're doing here. We're just talking about talking about Halo usually. So
yep, usually.
But yeah, this week we actually have a question that I was thinking about that we're going to talk about. But first, what is going on in your life, buddy?
Well, this week was pretty uneventful in the life department, I suppose. I'm trying to think. My grandma had surgery, pretty serious surgery, but she made it out of that with no issues or anything, and she did pretty well actually. So that was a blessing. She was taking, I think, like 6 painkillers every 2 hours or something like that, or whatever it was. Whatever they gave her, but now it's only 2. She's like can take 2. She's fine. So. So that's good. And besides that, just been kind of, in my time I do have, I played Destiny when I played video games this week. Unfortunately, I said I wasn't going to play it, but I did because I wanted to do the raid this weekend, and I did do the raid last night. The King's Fall raid, so that was pretty neat. Never had done a raid before like that, to that extent. Me and Christian and 2 of my coworkers did.
Yeah, let's talk about that. We did the original raid, the Vault of Glass. We did it with 4 people, and I was the only one that had ever done any of it before, and we did the whole thing, and it was a little frustrating at some points, only having 4 people, but still, we did it in less time than I think I ever did it with 6 people, when I was that level. That level difference makes a difference. Because
like
we're all level 40s.
Apparently.
Yeah, we're all level 40s, and the highest level for that raid was 26. So yeah, it was kind of a breeze.
Which is ridiculous in my opinion that it makes that much of a difference, but whatever. And besides that, I did do something kind of real life that's important. I pre-ordered Halo 5.
Yeah, that's important.
So I did that. So the Gamers Club Unlocked is really cool, so I'm going to trade in Metal Gear by the time Halo 5 comes out, so I'll only end up paying $11 for my Halo 5 copy, which is really cool.
Have you finished Metal Gear yet?
Not yet, no, I'm on like level 35, I think, so it won't be much longer.
I played 2 more missions this week in the story.
If I devote some more time to it this week, like this week coming, I'll definitely. And Allison comes, not this coming weekend, but the one after that, and I took leave. Yeah, she's coming for
nice.
4 or 5 days. So hopefully, I put in for leave for the whole week. So that Monday we have off because it's Columbus Day. And then I took off the rest of the 4 days, and she gets here Wednesday. So that Monday is going to be a video game day, and then that Tuesday is also probably going to be it's supposed to be a cleaning up my room and car day, but it's probably just gonna end up being a video game day. So let's be honest.
I'm sure Allison she'll just be happy to see you. She won't worry about all the trash and 5,000 monster cans piled up in your room.
I don't know who you think you are saying stuff like that, but so I'm looking forward to. I mean, I don't know. Destiny kind of took a stake in my time, so I'm kind of ready to get back and beat Metal Gear. I might actually play it tonight, honestly, but we'll see. Because I mean, I have like 50 strange coins, and Zer's already gone, so it's not like I can really do much today anyway. I'm kind of done for on the weekend. So, and then the last thing that I did that was any somewhat of eventful was. If you have an Xbox, I'm not sure. I didn't see. I looked on PlayStation and it was not there. So, Xbox is having a Warner Brothers publisher sale. So that's games like Mortal Kombat. I'm not really sure what else, to be honest with you, but Mortal Kombat, Shadow of Mordor. So they had the Shadow of Mordor Game of the Year edition, which is full game plus every single piece of DLC for $16. So if you never got to play it, I would definitely recommend it because I played it last night, and everybody knows that I'm like obsessed with brutality and gore and all that stuff. So this game is like the epitome of that, and I really like that. So if you like hack and slashers, it's pretty much like I just said. I just told Christian this, but I feel like it's a overly brutal Assassin's Creed, I guess.
Yeah, no, it plays a lot like Assassin's Creed. But yeah, even some of the mechanics is the same. It's almost like
the counter, how it counters and stuff like that.
Yeah, that and like the towers where you have to climb the tower and look
forge
around.
It.
Yeah, and see all the stuff around it, like open the map. But yeah, it's a really fun game. Definitely one that everybody should play, I think. Especially
now that if you have $16 to spare and you're like, what game should I buy to maybe hold me over? Maybe. I'm not sure how long the game is, but I would assume I could probably beat it before Halo 5 comes out.
Oh yeah, it's not very long.
So with that, and then they give you the DLC pack, so there's a lot of extra stuff to do besides the main story and the side things. So definitely.
Even, I mean, you can just play it forever with the, what do they call it? Like that captain system.
Yeah.
It's constantly giving you new enemies with different, like new, stronger enemies with different strengths and weaknesses. And like we were just talking before the podcast started, like one of them can beat you and he'll get stronger. And like the next time you fight him, it's going to be even harder fight. It's really cool. It's a really cool way they've set up that whole thing. And they'll even fight each other. Like you'll hear about two of them are going to fight each other. And if one of them wins, he gets promoted and he becomes stronger and has a bigger army and stuff like that.
Yeah. Or you can sit up on a perch and wait for him to fight. And then when one has like no health, let the one kill the other one and just jump down and kill the other guy. Yep. And then you just two birds with one stone. So that's what I've been doing. There was one guy has like a fear of the Karagogs or whatever they're called, the little dog type monster looking things. Yeah, and I put one out of his cage, and he like ran away, and he became super vulnerable. So I just pretty much stealth killed him, like stealth killed a captain because he was so scared. It was pretty awesome, but
yeah, some of them have like a weakness to bows, so you can like sneak in there and just fire an arrow right into his head, and he dies, and then sneak out. Or you can just run in and like fight everybody. It's really cool the way they made it totally open. Like you just do whatever you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's awesome. I think I recorded when I had it because I bought it when it came out. I think I recorded this one part where I got into this area. It was totally random. I was just running through an area, and there was like two guys there, two captains. So I started fighting them. And then more guys kept showing up. So eventually there was like 5 of them that I was fighting, plus all their armies. And I'm just like hacking and comboing all the guys, and I kill like all 5 of the captains. It was awesome.
That sounds nuts.
It was awesome. That is a really good game. I bought it. I wasn't sure if it was going to be like a good game, but I bought it just because I like Lord of the Rings. and it seemed pretty cool. But it turned out to be a really good game. The story's kind of interesting, but
it's kind of confusing to me so far. But
yeah, it's kind of confusing too, and the ending is really weird. But overall, I didn't think it was a bad story. It's kind of sad.
I mean, for a Warner Brothers game, that's pretty good, I think.
I guess.
Wow.
Isn't Batman Warner Brothers?
Yeah, but they have different publishers. They have like different guys working on that. That's obviously a good game. Oh, I don't like it, but
anyways,
what about your life? You had a pretty interesting week.
What do you mean?
Well, you had an interesting yesterday. You made some cash.
Yeah. So
the hard way.
The hard way. What? That was pretty easy, actually. So, about 2 weeks ago, I told some guys in my church that I wanted to learn how to run the soundboard because my buddy John runs it like every week, so he never gets to like just chill out and sit with his family during Sunday morning. So I was like, man, somebody needs to give this dude a break. So I started learning it, and I mean, it's a huge soundboard, all kinds of channels going into it. I was like, I have a little soundboard, so I kind of know how some of this stuff works, but it's nowhere near the same. So I barely know my way around it, and this dude comes up to me last week, and he's like, hey, can you run sound at my wedding this weekend? I was like, I don't really know how this thing works yet. I don't want to like screw up your wedding day. That's kind of a big deal. He's like, no, it'll be fine. There's nobody else can do it. I already talked to John and who else. I was like, all right, I can try. So I was kind of really nervous. I was kind of figuring how all this stuff works, like last minute. But I think it went pretty good. I've literally never done anything at all like that ever before. But people said that it went okay, so it was pretty good and made $100. So we could definitely use that since I've been trying to save money and pay stuff off and do all that good stuff. So I was able to help him out. They helped me out. Everybody was happy. But yeah, it's fun weekend for me.
Well, I'm glad you got to make some money. I mean, it's always nice when you get some extra cash on the side.
Yep. And I didn't play any video games. Well, anything new. I played a little bit of Destiny, a little bit of Metal Gear, like I said. But that's about it. But this weekend, you know what's up. Right?
It's not the Battlefront beta, right?
No, I think it is. At least that's what you said.
I know, I'm just kidding. No, it's the 8th.
Yeah, well, still, I mean, was that Thursday?
I think so, yeah.
Dang,
sure dude. I'm going to be playing that then.
Yep. We're
going to be playing that. Shoot.
I'm sure that's going to be awesome. I hope it actually works. But yeah, we'll be able to talk about that next time.
Oh, definitely.
But this week, our question that I was kind of thinking about, because I wanted to, talk about something different since there's not a whole lot of new stuff coming out that we're talking about. So I was just thinking about some stuff, and there's two questions that I asked that I was wondering about. So I asked Taylor to think of something and we can talk about it. I'm trying to find exactly.
The first question was, what game
do you wish had a sequel that did not have a sequel?
And which game do you wish?
We'll talk about that question first.
Okay, you go first.
Oh, you go first.
No, you go first.
Okay.
All right.
Well, my game, this was a little hard to kind of nail down one because there was a lot of games that I wished had sequels that were good, like new gen type stuff. So I was trying to think of something maybe a little older that never got one, because there was a few that I was thinking of, like Knights of the Old Republic was one that came to mind first, but it had a second one, just no third one. And I was like, man, it'd be super nice to have a third one. But
that doesn't count. Only one game.
Right, it still had a sequel. So, what got me when I was thinking about that, I started thinking about the old Star Wars games that were always really good. Like, those were some of the best games on like those older systems. So my pick, I think, would be Star Wars Republic Commando.
Oh yeah, that game was fun, dude.
Yeah, dude, it was like, that was kind of, I can't remember. I think it was kind of around the time that a lot of the squad-based shooters were out, like Rainbow Sixes and stuff like that. And so it had kind of all the normal stuff that a squad-based shooter was, except you were a team of like clone commandos. And it was cool because in the movies, all you see were just like the frontline soldier guys. And they didn't really have personalities. It was just kind of just cannon fodder soldiers. But in Republic Commando, like each guy had like a code name and they kind of talked and joked with each other. And they had like all this crazy gear and each one was kind of unique. Like one guy was a demolition guy. One guy was a sniper. One guy was shoot. I can't remember what the other ones were, what the other guy was, but then you were kind of like the squad leader, so you could kind of do all of it.
Mm-hmm.
And you could do like Rainbow Six, you could direct your guys to like set a charge on a door, or what was cool too is you could set your guys up in these different positions. Like if you were going to breach a door and you kind of figured that something big was behind it, like there's a ton of guys, you could have one guy sit behind this wall and it would be like a sniper designated wall. You tell him to go over there and set up a sniper. And so he'd go over there and he'd switch his gun to a sniper. And then you tell like another guy to go to a grenade, like a grenadier spot. That was the other guy, Grenadier. And he'd go over there, pull out his grenade launcher. And then you'd tell the one guy to breach the door, the demolition guy to breach the door, and you'd kind of hang back. So when the door blew up, everybody, one guy was sniping, one guy was shooting the grenades, and you and the other guy were just kind of firing everything else in there. So it was really cool how you could set that up. And I bought this a few months ago. I think I talked about it in this whole Star Wars bundle. So I played it a little bit.
The Humble bundle on Steam?
Yeah. You can definitely tell it's dated, but it still is a lot of fun. What was interesting too is the guns, you didn't have different guns for each thing. You had like one gun body and you would switch parts out depending on what you were using. Like you had the assault rifle, which was just the regular one, and then you could use the sniper. He'd like switch the barrel and he'd put a scope on it and he'd switch out the magazine. So it was really cool how they did that. And all the other guys had the same thing. So you could do each role, like sniper, grenadier, whatever. And then you had...
It sucks. I feel like I wasn't old enough to really understand how good that game was and enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the same thing too. And it was cool because it would take you to different locations. Like what wasn't always the same thing. You would, I think the first few levels you were on, what's the planet? Genosis? Whatever the...
Are you talking about where the bug guys are from?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. But yeah, so you're running around and you're doing all these objectives while the whole battle and stuff's going on. And each thing you're doing, like you're taking out anti-air stuff so the gunships can come in. And so it was kind of cool you'd see like another side of that story that you didn't see in the movie. Yeah. And then you'd go to like some jungle planet and you'd be tracking down this mercenary guy and you'd be fighting different type of enemies. So it was a really unique game for its time if you go back and think about it.
Oh yeah.
But I wish we had a newer gen version of something like that. And I'm holding out hope that hopefully there's like a new version of something like that coming out with the new Star Wars games. I think what would be cool is maybe not a Republic Commando 2, but maybe like a Rebel Commando where it'd show like some of the
different era of it.
Yeah, like not the Clone Wars side, but the Empire and the Rebels.
Yeah.
and you'd be like a rebel, part of like a rebel splinter group, and like say the guys who go and steal the Death Star plans, you could like play that mission or something like that, which would be super awesome. Like trying to sneak into the Death Star and all that stuff. Yeah, that'd be really cool. And I hope there's a movie coming out. It's supposed to be one of the little offshoot movies, and I think it's Rebel something, or Red something. Starts with an R, but it's about. I think it's supposed to be about that, and I think that comes out next year. It's more like the soldier side. They said there's not really going to be Jedi and Sith in there. It's going to be more like the story of the soldiers. So I think maybe something around that would be an interesting game.
Maybe a game made after that.
Yeah,
possibly.
So I'm still holding out hope, but that's one that I really wish had got a sequel before now, at least.
Yeah, sometimes you don't get to choose,
Yeah. But
yeah,
whoever thought we'd see another Battlefront, but like we said, the beta for the new one starts this weekend.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I kind of felt like Battlefront would be a good game to put back out.
Yeah, I mean, I did too, but it's like with all the stuff that was going on, it's kind of, still hope that we'll see one, but we probably won't, I think was kind of my thought. Because, like I said, all those older Star Wars games, they used to be some of the best games.
Oh,
but now it's like The Force Unleashed, which is a decent game, but it's definitely not like a AAA on par with Call of Duty or Dragon Age or something like that. It's kind of just like a little action combo game. Kind of like Shadows of Mordor. Like it's a good game, but it's not like one of the top shelf contenders that like in a fall season, it wouldn't be your first pick.
Right.
So, hopefully with this rejuvenation of the Star Wars franchise, we can start seeing more stuff like that. And Battlefront will be the kicking open the door.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think they've got a lot riding. Yeah. They've got a lot riding on Battlefront, which from what I've seen, I'm sure to be good. I mean, DICE is making it. They make good stuff, but,
yep.
We'll see. A lot of people are haters, man. A lot of people are doubting whether it's going to be good.
Yeah, well, there's always going to be haters everywhere you go. I mean, no matter what game you're talking about, no matter what it is. I mean, people say that Halo is a garbage game. I just don't understand how they can say that, but,
Yep.
If someone doesn't like something, if someone doesn't enjoy or like something, then that means they're going to say it's garbage. That's just that simple. So.
Yeah, I think that's true. I mean, there's genres that I have no interest in whatsoever. JRPGs.
Like RTS.
I like RTSs.
Well, I don't. I'm saying. But.
All right, so what's your pick?
My pick is one that I've definitely talked about before. And I would really like to, people really hate on this game, and I would like to see more games that have this kind of play style, and this game is Heavy Rain.
Really?
Yep. That was one of the first games that really made me, I guess, question my inner motives playing a video game. It actually made me really think about what I was doing. Because you never played it, right?
No, I never played it.
I mean, any decision you made, could always change what you were doing.
Yeah.
So, and in that sense alone, I mean, playing that when it came out in like 2010, I think is when it came out. As I was that young then, and it really it kind of took a mental toll on me, because I've already said before how I get really attached to video game characters. And, I just remember playing the game and being really into the characters and wanting the ones to live, really being emotional about it. And it was a video game. And I really enjoy those kind of games where you kind of decide who gets to live, I guess. I know that Until Dawn just came out, and that's the kind of game that is, but that's just a stupid game. It's just about kids being murdered, like, at some winter place. That's just stupid. But a game where you really have to think, and, I mean, you get rewards, and in my opinion, you get lasting rewards when you beat the game, depending on how you do it, which sucks because I refused to let anyone die that could be killed when I played. So.
Well, some of them, like you said, it's like every small decision could affect the outcome. So you could, like, the whole time you're trying to not let this one person die, but you could have made this one small decision that kind of cascaded, and you can't do it when it comes down to that point where they live or die because of choices you made like hours before in the game. There's nothing you can do at that point to save them.
Right, like the things, because I never really actually talked about what the decisions you get, some of the decisions you had to make, but so I mean, I know I've told about the story, and if you haven't played it, then you should probably play it. I mean, I don't know, I would definitely go back and play it if they remastered it or something.
Well, I don't have a PlayStation anymore.
I know, I mean like people in general. But so your main character's son there's this serial killer who kills kids, type deal. He drowns them, kidnaps them and drowns them. And so your son is kidnapped by him, and there's a bunch of clues that your guy has to keep, finding and that sort of thing. And there's one part where you have to, it's like a webcam setup, and you have to cut your finger off and show like the webcam that you did it. And if you can't bear to watch your guy take a pair of scissors and cut his finger off, or a knife, or I forget however he does it, then there's a possibility that you could still get enough clues to find out where your son is being held at. But you're probably not, and your son is probably going to die. So that one simple mistake, or that one simple choice, that happens. That's like, I think, the second trial, and there's 5 of them. So you could do that and then keep going on with the game, and you're like, oh man, I'm still on track. And then by the time you make it to him, he's dead. So I guess games just where real-time thinking really comes into play is kind of what I like to do. 'Cause I mean, the shooter genre is just, it's over, man. I'm getting older, and I don't really enjoy people putting out the same game, the same shooter over and over again. As I get older, I'm getting a lot more story oriented as a gamer, and more plot, I guess, engulfed. So, and just a game that like that would really appease my my sense for the story, because I mean, I love story games like that. I love games, like I said, the decision making games. I mean, and I guess that a lot of other games can give you the ability to make decisions. Like Mass Effect, you can be like the good guy or be like the bag.
Yeah.
And yes, maybe the decisions you make might affect how things turn out, but you can still beat the game.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like your character will still make it. In Heavy Rain, if you didn't make the right decisions, I mean, there was 4 characters the 4 characters, and then the dirty cop was actually the serial killer. So
spoiler alert.
Yeah, sorry. You could you could do it incorrectly to where the good guys died and the dirty cop lives to continue to keep killing kids. So, because if you don't save your son, the main character, Ethan, at his son's gravestone, spoiler alert, he killed himself because his other son had already been killed by a car. He got ran over, so he had no sons left, so he just killed himself at the grave. I mean, I didn't want to see that. Like a character that I had gotten attached to, the whole game, and then that happened. Oh man, which it didn't happen to me. Because the good guys survived in my game. I had to look that up on YouTube. But I didn't want to look it up on YouTube, but I had to. I wanted to see what happened. So, But
you're talking about like just playing through the game, you got them all survive, or
yeah, I made them all survive.
Okay.
I made sure they all survived. Yeah. And I never wanted to go back through and play it because I didn't want any of the good guys to die. Because
Right.
I like the characters and the roles that they played. And one guy was like a cokehead. So if he wasn't taking his, drugs that he wanted to, he would start getting like what's that word called? Remission, right? When you go into
starts with
remission.
an H, isn't it?
H, I don't know.
No,
Either way.
withdrawal. That's it.
Yeah. So, anyways, so his nose would start bleeding, and if you did not like get into like a private area in time and take more of the drug, then you would die. Type deal. So you would lose that route of the story. Like all the extra clues that you could be getting from his side of the story, you lose at that point. So, and then at the end of the game, because at the end of the game, he comes to the place where Ethan comes, and they kind of work as a team type deal. And while Ethan is trying to figure out when their son is at, the cop is fighting that dirty cop. And it's just crazy. I don't know, because at that point, the good cop can also die right there, and you can lose him at that point in the game as well. So, I don't know. I just really, obviously I could talk about all the different parts of that game that I really enjoyed, so I just really wish they would put a sequel out of that. And not, Until Dawn just didn't do it for me. Like I said, I mean, the whole point of the game, it's like a horror movie, I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry. There's not really a plot to like 6 teenagers go into some mountain resort and then some like deranged killers there. Oh, sorry. Well, you shouldn't have been there in the first place. I don't know what to tell you.
It's just like a Halloween story.
Yeah, but I don't care.
That's great. Other people do.
So
I've tried to get into those. I bought a while back. They had that sale on like all the Telltale stuff on the Xbox One, and I bought it. And I went through a little bit of the Walking Dead is the one I started with, but I just
was that on 360 when you did that?
No, that's on the Xbox One.
Okay, yeah. Those Telltale games are pretty good. The Walking Dead one is good. It's just kind of a slower game, so it's kind of hard to get.
Yeah, maybe that's the thing. I bought it because I wanted to go through it with Sam, kind of something we can sit down and just go through together. But we just haven't had the time to do it. So, but yeah, I definitely want to get back into those because it came with The Walking Dead season 1 and 2. It came with
The Wolf Within, right?
The Wolf Among Us or something like that.
The Wolf Among Us, yeah, one of those things.
The Borderlands one.
Oh yeah.
The Game of Thrones one, and I thought there was another one, but I'm not sure. But yeah,
I mean, and that's just a great genre, I mean, that is the epitome of a true story game, in my opinion, and not. Well,
there's
a
bunch more coming out like that. Like it seems like that genre is gaining popularity since the Heavy Rain days.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, I can't really kind of mind a lot of decision-making games since Heavy Rain. I mean,
Well, there's the one, I think it's called Life is Strange.
Oh yeah, Life is Strange.
Like tons of people are into. But those episodic type things, that's like, It's a big thing. Kind of the point and click decision making type thing.
Yep.
And
people say that, they're like, point and click, that's so stupid. But really, they haven't taken the time to sit down and actually try it and see how, enjoyable it is. Well, people that say that are usually like 5 years old. They're like the Call of Duty kids. Like, this is not like bros. Call of Duty at all. I'm like, yeah, I know. Thanks. Idiot. So yeah. So that's my game. But
all right. So the second question was, what game had a sequel that you thought totally ruined the franchise? And this didn't have to be like number 2. It could be any game in the sequence of the series, but a game that just totally did in the franchise.
You want me to go first? You want to go first?
Yeah, you get to go first since I went first last time.
Okay. Okay, well, I mean, let's just be honest, dude. Halo 2.
What?
I'm just kidding.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so this might sound stupid, but I'm going to take you back a little bit, okay?
Okay.
All right, so, say what you will, but when they started making this first sequel of Crash Bandicoot that was like this open free range game, totally killed the platform of Crash Bandicoot.
You have to tell me about that, because I never played any of the Crash games except
What?
for Crash Team Racing was like the only one that I played.
Okay, so if you never played the original Crash Bandicoots, they were kind of one lane type deal. I'm trying to think of a game that's kind of comparable, but
I think they put like a remastered version out on the 360 or something, and I played the demo for it.
No, they didn't.
I played part of one somewhere.
Well, any of them, the ones after PlayStation, every game after PlayStation 2 that they put out, it was garbage.
Well, I've played one and I know what you're talking about, where it's a single lane and you're just running through and like jumping over stuff and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It was like, I'm pretty sure it was, I either played it at somebody's house or it was a demo or something. I only played a couple of levels of it.
Right. So that in itself, that single lane, platformer game, that is absolutely phenomenal. And that is so enjoyable to me, even to this day. If they had done something like that if they put Crash Bandicoot back out with that type of gameplay, I would totally buy it in a heartbeat. Cause I cannot tell you how many times or how many hours I put into Crash, and it's not like we talked about before, how it's like, the remastered game and you're like, I've played already this a million times. Like, it's just not fun anymore.
Yeah.
If they would put out a new game with that style of gameplay, definitely would play it in a heartbeat. So, the big difference, between those two games, how they played separately were, imagine, I guess, I don't know, kind of like how should I say this? Like, imagine an arena, maybe, type playing field. And that is how the other Crash Bandicoots on the newer generation consoles were. It was no longer
like
that single
Spyro type thing.
Not necessarily. I'm trying to think of a game that I can compare it to, but I'm really just none are coming to mind right now. But I don't know. It just they put too much thought into trying making it new and innovative, and it crashed and burned. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's why they haven't put any more out, because nobody was buying that stuff. Yes, I wasn't going to say anything, but since you pointed it out, I know. But that, and it's, I guess the main reason it bothers me so bad is because it kind of killed my enjoyment for the game series, you could say, if that makes any sense. When you have a game that you really thoroughly enjoy, and then they put a game out that kind of kills the series, and then Crash Bandicoot is like no longer, to be found. If you're like, who's Crash Bandicoot? Like, oh yeah, him, type deal.
Yeah, that's true. It's kind of like something that only the old school gamers know about. And
yep.
it was, wasn't it PlayStation only?
It was PlayStation only until next generation, and then they started putting it on.
You're talking about 360, PS3?
Correct.
Yeah, because I think I played Crash Team Racing on the first PlayStation. It was a while back.
I mean, even Crash Team Racing was awesome. I mean, and
yeah, Crash Team Racing was
amazing.
And
Crash Bandicoot on the PlayStation 2 still had that old style type of play. But they still I guess they just thought no one liked it, but they're idiots. And I could also say the same thing about Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, I was going to say, because Sonic the Hedgehog was that same type of thing, just the single lane running through, and then it made it into all this other stuff.
Right, and they put out Sonic Generations, And that was so sick because, well, I love Sonic to begin with, but, so there's one type of title, wow. Sorry, let me get my...
Step a title fire.
Anyways, the one type of play on Sonic Generations was the old style of play. So it was 3D, but it was that across the screen platform thing. And that was amazing. It was still 3D and it wasn't like, anything new and innovative, but it was enjoyable because it was new. And then you would have to go play as the new Sonic, and he was, it was that 3D, but also like that free roaming type crap and that kind of thing. So I don't know. I guess change isn't always good in video games. Just because a video game gets older doesn't mean that it has to change.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to do that. I mean, if you look at it, Battlefront, the new one coming out, isn't going to be any different than the other ones. It just looks newer, and it's just newer, and it's just going to play better because it's on it's a new generation, everything.
Right, but essentially what it is its
core game has not moved.
Yeah.
So I just don't think people understand that.
That's we always bring everything back to Halo. That's like, if you look at all the Halo games, we've been talking a lot, is having all four of we don't have Reach, but having all four of the main Halo games that we can play back and forth, it's easy to see like which ones have held up the best and which ones haven't. And we can still go back and play Halo 2, even the old version, not even the updated version, the old version, and it's totally smooth, works flawlessly. It just doesn't look as good as new games. But like in a game like Halo 3, where they kind of changed a lot of the weapons, kind of how they work, and I don't know exactly the thing. The weapons are a lot of it, but it just kind of they changed a lot of the game with like the equipment and stuff, the shields and stuff you throw down. They changed a lot of how the game plays to make it, I guess, trying to update it, but in reality, they just mess it up for a lot of people. Not saying that Halo 3 is a terrible game. It was fun when it was out, but now playing them side to side, I would much rather play Halo 2 over Halo 3. And then Halo 4, like Halo Reach, they kind of took it back a little bit, but not all the way. And then Halo 4, I feel like they had a really good balance of that core Halo gameplay with just enough new stuff to kind of make it relevant. And I think from what I've played of Halo 5 on the beta, I feel like that is really what they're trying to nail with that one. And I think they've done a good job, at least what I've played.
Oh, yeah.
But yes, games have to improve and innovate some things to stay relevant as they put sequels out. But when you change core stuff, it's not
that's when the game becomes ruined. Yeah.
Yeah.
And not essentially, I guess, ruined because, I know some games that might have changed, and honestly, that might have been for the better. Might have really made a big difference in the game and made it way better. So, I guess it just depends on the game, really, that you're playing, because, not every game needs that core change.
Right.
I know that, because there's some games that don't need to be changed. I know when Titanfall 2 comes out, it don't need to be changed at all.
Yeah, just add more guns, more levels, maybe a couple of different gadgets, abilities, whatever. Maybe throw a campaign in there. But as far as essentially what the game is, it's fine. It's excellent. One of the best shooters on the new generation consoles.
Mm-hmm.
So is that it for yours? So I'll go ahead and name mine.
Yeah, I think that's it for mine.
Now mine, I think it's a little different because I think it's a game that kept a lot of the core stuff in it, but changed some of the additional stuff and destroyed it. And that
Wow.
is Red Faction Armageddon.
Oh man, that's a good one. Didn't
Dude,
even think about that.
dude, when Red Faction Guerrilla was out, that was, I mean,
That was phenomenal. We played so much of that game.
Yeah. I mean, I played, before I actually bought the game, I played the demo nonstop. I think they give you a demo and they let you play for like 45 minutes or an hour or something like that, kind of in the first starting area. And I mean, the destruction was amazing. I mean, you could level like every building in the landscape. And I'd just run around, I'd find like a truck or something and run everything over, and then my time would run out. I'd reload it. I'd take out the sledgehammer and just run around, like sprint around, smashing everything. My time would run out. I'd start it over, get out the C4, and throw C4 all over everything, try to blow up the whole building with one C4 ignition. Was amazing. And then the actual game, being able to drive like all over the surface of the planet, like the different regions, and just go back and forth pretty much seamlessly was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
The whole premise of it, kind of like this underground rebel group fighting against this big military power and finally destroying them in the end.
Just for reference, Red Faction has been around since like PlayStation 2 time.
Yeah, no, I remember playing Red Faction 2.
No, I'm not talking. I'm just saying, like, for if someone doesn't know.
Right. No. Red Faction Guerrilla was not the first one in the series.
That was a 360 game.
It was the first one.
360 platform.
It was the first one that was third person, though.
Oh yeah, and
All
that
the
made
other
a
ones
huge
were third
difference.
person. Yeah.
Third person.
Third person.
Third person.
But yeah, I mean, even the older ones were cool because it was. I'm trying to think of. There was another game that was kind of like it. Maybe Quake.
I'll just say Time Splitters. But.
Well, like a game that kind of threw you all kinds of different weapons, and everybody would be running around. You could set up bots. That's all I would do pretty much. Is I'd do like the arena mode and set up all the bots and just run around and blast everybody. But yeah, Guerrilla with that destruction stuff added in, and the third person camera angle, and the bigger story, it's added so much to the game. And all the like the jetpack, the different abilities you could buy, upgrades you could get for your stuff. Was just amazing. The vehicles. And what was cool too is if you'd played the old ones, the rebel group and those that were taken over from the oppressors, in Red Faction Guerrilla, that rebel group had become the oppressors. So now there was another rebel group trying to overthrow them. It's kind of interesting. Mm-hmm. But so that was like an awesome game. Played it all the time. The multiplayer was super fun. You had all the destruction in the multiplayer. And then going from that to Armageddon, it kept the same core mechanics. It added a couple more weapons that were really cool, and the destruction was still there. But what they did was they made it super linear. They took out the multiplayer stuff, like the versus multiplayer, and instead of that, they substituted in like a horde mode, like a wave mode, which was interesting, but, you know, it's like, after so many times of doing that, it's like, okay, this is old. You know, it's like, you can only do that so many times before it's just not fun anymore. And, the story was interesting. The story I don't think wasn't as good as Guerrilla.
It was good enough to where I don't remember anything about it.
Yeah, no, me neither. But another thing that was bad is somehow the surface of the planet becomes like toxic or something. And so everything's underground now. And of course, this was around the time when all the zombie stuff was like, everybody was crazy about the zombie stuff. They added these like weird monster things that were kind of like zombies that would chase you. They seemed like identical almost to the stuff from Dead Space, like those zombie type things. So it was like, okay, we've seen plenty of zombie stuff before. We've seen the same kind of stuff in Dead Space. Like it's kind of becoming overplayed at that point. And then with everything being underground, it wasn't as open as it was before, where you could just take vehicles and drive all over everything and like level buildings. There was still buildings and stuff that you could do that to, but it just wasn't the same because you're just moving through an area. you weren't really doing anything in this area to accomplish anything. And they took a lot of the kind of additional stuff out to where it was only like in guerrilla, you would get calls from your rebel guys say, hey, these guys are attacking our base over here or something. And you could run over and you could run over and help them out. But it wasn't like that in Armageddon. You're just moving from one point to the next, fighting these monster things, and it just
really lost its open world aspect.
Yeah,
really,
just got really
and that's what made the game so good the first time, with just how open it was.
Right. But yeah. So I mean, that's kind of an odd example of something that kept some of the core stuff, but took out some of the additional stuff that made the previous one good, and to me totally ruined it. And I think Armageddon, is the reason why we don't have more Red Faction games today.
Because no one liked it, so I mean they're like, why put a game out that sucks? I don't know why ruin it.
Oh, we invested.
Why'd you ruin a good game?
And I don't know if the developers would admit that now or not. Because I've seen interviews where they're like, yeah, we just want to focus more on these aspects. It's like, okay, that's great, but you totally, destroyed everything that made the previous one good.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, what do you expect if you pump all this money into this game and nobody likes it because it was not as good as the one before? Like, what do you expect?
Mm-hmm.
But that's another one. I'm still holding out hope. Maybe one day we'll see another good Red Faction, but
probably not.
It was really, really disappointing because I was so excited about another Red Faction game coming out because Guerrilla was amazing.
I had pre-ordered and everything.
You ruined it.
Yep.
I was really mad that I spent $60 on that.
And the game was so short as well.
Yeah, it was super short.
That sucks. That's really frustrating. Thinking about it, it's really frustrating.
Yeah, sad times in video games.
Yep. It happens though sometimes.
Yep. Well, anything you want to add?
Why is your wife calling me on my cell phone?
I don't know. Probably because she called me and I didn't answer. Doing the podcast, bruh.
Yeah, you're right. She probably is calling. She's like, Christian won't answer me. He better not be talking to you. Oops, sorry.
I think she's actually waiting outside because I locked the door when I came in, and I don't think she has a key, so...
Hold on, wait, let's see what she says. Hold on, let's see what she says.
Oh my gosh.
Hello?
Hey.
Hi.
Tell Christian to get off the podcast and let me inside the house. It's freezing cold out here.
Okay.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Alright, bye.
Wow. Okay, well, I guess that's it for this week, folks.
You better go pick your switch out of the front yard so she can whip you when she comes inside.
Alright, well, that's the end of the podcast because I gotta go.
Okay, well, alright, see you, little kid. I mean, Christian.
Alright, bye listeners.
Bye, everyone.
Love you.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
Oh my gosh, you better go do that.